Hi everyone, Mike Hall here. Today I'm going to deviate from my normal subject of stamps and talk about another area of collecting. It's an area that gives me great personal pleasure in my own collecting habits. It's also the only things that I collect that I display. I have a number of these items hanging up at home. Just to put all this into context, I'd like to share with you a book I'm reading at the moment. Now this is a work of historical fiction. It's a series of 3 books. I'd strongly recommend it. It's a great read, and it tracks the lives of Napoleon, the Duke of Wellington, and obviously refers to Admiral Nelson as well as 3 very important historical figures. And I have in my own collection historical documents signed by each of those 3 historical figures. So it really brings home to me the fact that I have history in my hands, and I'll just share with you one of the items that I've taken off my wall just to let you see. I hope you can see that. Yes, you can. This is obviously Napoleon, and it's a letter dated 1812 where he is deploying troops to Russia, and it's actually vaguely referred to in the book I'm reading at the moment. And the other thing that's interesting about this item is the size and how bold his signature is. It's said that his signatures were larger when he was confident, and they got progressively smaller as things turned against him. So, just moving on to the collection I'd like to share with you today. It's a collection that has taken us over a decade to build. It contains 20 unique items spanning 500 years of history from 1499. And every single item in the collection is of museum quality. And really the items rightfully belong in a museum. And it's fair to say that very few items of this nature ever appear on the open market for sale. So it's a real privilege to be able to own things like this. And it's also an area that has proven a strong investment. Over the past 20 years, the growth rate's been around 10% per annum, and even during the current crisis, prices are still going up in this area, and that's because it's an area it's not correlated with mainstream investments, and it provides diversification in any investments and wealth protection at this difficult time. So if you have £1 million available, you may find this of interest. Regardless, hopefully you'll enjoy looking through the content of the collection, which you can view in the link below. So let me just whet your appetite. I'll just share with you 4 items which feature in the collection. The first item, this is 2 locks of hair taken from the beard of King Charles I. After the English Civil War, led by Oliver Cromwell, the royalist defeat, as I'm sure you're aware, resulted in the beheading of Charles I in 1649. And his head was sewn back on before he was buried at St George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. And this was removed from his body when it was exhumed in 1813, and it comes with watertight provenance. It really is a fascinating piece of history, and it doesn't get really any more personal than owning something that belonged to the body of a historical figure. The second item is a section of Admiral Lord Nelson's flagship HMS Victory. It's a topsail and rope from the Battle of Trafalgar, which took place in 1805. As I'm sure you know, Nelson was killed at this famous battle despite the victory over the French fleet. And that victory ensured Britain's dominance over the sea against the war with France and effectively thwarted Napoleon's ambitions. This is the largest single artefact to have survived the Battle of Trafalgar, and it's previously been exhibited at historical maritime events in the UK and abroad. And it's certainly one of the most historically significant pieces I've ever handled. Third item I'd like to share with you is a real item of curiosity. It's Gandhi's personal food bowl, fork and spoons which were used by him during his imprisonment. He then went on to lead India to independence, which happened in 1947. And the provenance from this comes from the owner of the Palm Bun house who cared for Gandhi whilst he was there. So it's absolutely clear. It's such a wonderful personal item of one of history's legends. The final item is more modern, but no less significant, and it's a collection of signed photographs of all the 12 astronauts that walked on the moon, and each one of those items is beautifully framed and in top quality condition. And in some respects, walking on the moon represents mankind's greatest achievement. They also include, as you would expect, the most valuable one being Neil Armstrong, the very first man to walk on the moon. And there's only 4 of the 12 moonwalkers who survive today. And this is a fantastic collection. It's much more difficult to put together than you might think. And I believe it has great investment potential. Well, I hope you found that little appetizer interesting. And if you would like to see the full collection, click on the link below. And if you're interested, do get in touch. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. So thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you again next week.